Yo, yo, I'm going to build on Japan as far as their reproduction is concerned. Okay, everybody knows, or you should know, that Japan is actually facing an existential threat because their young population is not having sex, and therefore they're not reproducing children to add on to the population. So Japan is facing an epidemic in which old people or older people are starting to become the dominant majority. And all of this is because young people are just not reproducing with each other for some apparent reason. Okay. People in Japan, and Tokyo in particular, work ridiculous amounts. For most people, it comes down to two choices: work like mad as a single person and have a tiny apartment full of dirty clothes and half eaten cup ramen containers, or get married. That way, the man goes off to work, and when he comes home after midnight, his dinner is sitting on the table covered in saran wrap, and there's hot water in a tub. His wife and daughter are already asleep. The young Japanese people of today grew up watching their parents live this type of lifestyle, and it's understandable that they are not thrilled about this option. Marriage isn't a great choice, it's just the second worst option. For a man in Japan, it means he is working to pay for his wife. For a woman, it means a life of indentured servitude. A lot of people are apparently just saying no to the whole thing. And the second reason that the Japanese population isn't reproducing is prostitution. For a Japanese male, it is possible to get sex almost anywhere at any time for little more than the price of a decent lunch. Anyone who's been in Japan for even a short while has seen the rows of shops offering all the usual services. As an aside, I'll add that foreigners aren't allowed in, but as long as you're Japanese, you're good to go. But Japanese racism is a whole nother subject. So, okay. Social relations is the third reason. The social functions with robot like efficiency become because bosses tell employees what to do, as do parents or teachers, and one does it. There's a hierarchy in Japanese society in which bosses at your job have more influence in your life than your actual parents do. So if they tell you that they don't want you to have children because that would ruin your efficiency at the job, then typically Japanese people listen because in their culture it's considered offensive to not listen to authoritative figures. All right, so let's look up the population. Okay, Tokyo, there's 15 million people living in Tokyo, but let's see how many people live in Japan, period. All right, it's 126 million people living in Japan. That's actually a decent size. Okay. All right, in 2020, this year, a report came out that actually said Japan's population shrank by a record 420,000 people last year. Government estimates show as the coronavirus pandemic dealt a heavy blow to an influx of foreign workers that had helped offset the country's ongoing natural population decline. Wow. So the coronavirus pandemic, in addition to the fact that they're going through this population decline through because the youth aren't getting married and aren't reproducing, resulted in 420 people being lost last year. The average life expectancy in 2016 in Japan was 85 years old. It's 81 for females and 88 for men. It's pretty good. By the end of the century, their population is going to shrink from 126 million to less than 53 million by the end of the century if this current trend of young people not reproducing and not getting married continues. So, yeah, I mean, Japan is a pretty decent sized country. It's bigger than most countries. And I think they serve a great example of what happens when your country becomes too dependent on work, success, and obtaining some sort of social lifestyle that that you believe your parents sacrificed in order to be married. Because a lot of Japanese people say that 2021 offers so much technology. It's so much fun being a single individual. And when they were growing up, their parents had to sacrifice a lot of fun in their own particular era for the sake of their marriage, because quite naturally it's customary in Japanese culture for women to be submissive. So women would rather just enjoy their lives being single, and they don't want to date because they don't want to accidentally have babies. So yeah, Japan, y'all need some y'all need some Marvin Gaye, and yeah, I mean, tighten up, Japan. I mean, yeah, life isn't always about work and success. I mean, sometimes you gotta build with each other on an intimate level. Peace.